Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the pod. Today, I have Shane Sparks here with me. If you guys don't know Shane is known for his incredible choreography in America's Best Dance Crew, So You Think You Could Dance, You Got Served, and so much more. He is also Emmy nominated and has won an American Choreography Award. Hi, Shane.
How you doing, Janice? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I once took I have been a supporter of Shane back, when I was growing up and watching him dance, and I took one of his dance classes with one of my girlfriends in school. And I remember it was at Millennium Studios.
Dance complex, yes.
Yep. And the song was Little John Get Low. And when I tell you, I was so nervous and so scared, but so excited to be taking his class at the same time.
Hmm.
I danced very poorly and I did not go into the center. At the end of when you teach everyone and everyone's
Right.
supposed to have it down and you pull people and they do it, in the center of the room. I didn't do that.
Yeah,
I
that's
could not
okay.
I did not do that.
Hey, look,
But
I'll tell you this. I tell you that those were some of the most amazing days of my life because I went from having five people in a class when I first started at Moral Landis to having people wrapped around the building every Monday and Wednesday. It was a crazy time for dance at that time. So I'm glad that you were able to experience that and bring that back because I haven't been around it so long. I forget what I did.
yeah, like I will never forget the energy. The room was hot as hell because there were so many people in there. It was
Uh-huh.
packed. I could barely see Shane in front because there were so many people in that classroom. And we were about, maybe I would say, I don't know, a distance away from the next person away from, beside us because
Hmm.
it was so jam packed. So
Yeah.
I will never forget that. I brought Shane up. I asked him to be on my pod because I follow him, and I just he has a podcast of his own called Spark Up a Conversation. You are so motivating and so humble and so kind, and you talk about
Mhm.
various things on your podcast, but one of the things that you focus on is sharing your insights to young people coming up in the entertainment industry, or just joining the entertainment industry. And
Right.
so I was just intrigued by that because I think the things that you learn in the entertainment industry can be transferable to any part of life. Just because to me, my
Yep.
perspective is the entertainment business is can be hard and mean. So if you could survive
Hmm.
that, you could survive anything.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hmm.
What is one of the hardest things that you learn from working in the business?
Um, one of the hardest things is, from a personal point of view, one of the hardest things was the more famous you get, the more people come around you. A lot of them don't have good intentions, but they see your success or they see where you're headed, and they want to jump on that bandwagon. And I had to learn the hard way that they don't care. They don't care. There are people, I could show you videos of people when they were nothing and now they're something. And I was there putting them in the position to be there, that don't talk to me, don't call me, never ask how I was doing, like nothing. Like I just learned that you have a small circle of people in your life and love them and bring them along. All the other people, there's good acquaintances. Hey, what's up, yo? Do the work, have fun, but always know that that moment is that moment. Don't ever think of anything being bigger than that. And I remember Tupac said this. He said when he was doing this movie with Janet Jackson, he said, I'm on set. I'm with Janet. I got her phone number. We doing these scenes, and I'm tripping like I know Janet Jackson. Like this crazy. He said, but as soon as they yelled cut, her number was changed. I never heard from her again.
Hmm.
He was like, that's when I learned that it's only business. The sooner you learn that, the better off you'll be. Because we have soft hearts, especially when we get into the industry early. We come from a small town and we're like, oh my God, you're getting all this attention. Don't look at it as attention that's positive. Look at it as attention that They trying to get something from you, which nothing is wrong with that, but just know what it is. You feel me? Know what it is. And when they don't talk to you no more, when they book that video, just know like we had a great time. You know what I mean? Go do what you got to do. You got what you needed from me. Go do what you do. If you come back to me, I'm here. You feel me? So that's one of the biggest things I learned. Just be cautious of the people that you invite into your life and cautious of the people you share your talent with.
It's almost like, I guess that's how I imagine how you gain thick skin, because you have to learn fast.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to learn fast. And it's funny that you say thick skin because I was raised to say don't ever get a hardened heart.
Mhm.
But you have to get something that protects you in the process because you will get ran over. You will get stepped over because not everybody is out for your best interest. And you have to know that. So you got to get hard, you know, at certain times, but just know that you harden it for this, but then you relax for that. You feel me? And it's
Yeah.
only for certain activities, certain people, certain jobs, certain situations that you got to come in there and represent. But just know that it's only for the business that you're trying to get in so you don't get walked over. But it's how you act when you're not doing it is what make you who you are. And that's why I was always the type of person that anybody could come up to me, talk to me. I remember signing 100 autographs after any event that happened. Everybody, I used to do the Pulse of the Dance Convention. Dave Scott, Brian Friedman, um, Mia Michaels, everybody was on that thing on tour, and they would be on their planes. I'd be the only one still sitting there signing because I could see the faces of these kids, and I could see that long line, and I could see that girl or that boy 40 people back, and I gotta go, and they just waiting with their little paper. I would not leave until it was done because I know how it feels because I've been there before. That's the type of person I am, and that's the type of person I'll always be.
Yeah.
So it's who you are off the when you're away from the entertainment industry that makes you who you are in real life,
Yeah.
not who I am when I'm on stage. One more thing, I remember people used to meet me and they used to say, "We thought you were so mean when we would see you on So You Think You Could Dance or America's Best Dance Girl, you be judging." I would like, yo, that's an image. I'm up there doing what I have to do, and I'm not doing it in a mean way, but I'm just a strong, positive man. Like I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. So you're getting that energy. But if you, when they meet me, they be like, "You're so little, you're so nice." I heard that every time. They was like, "Wait a minute, we expect this old big old dude to come out." Like, no, I'm a little guy. You know what I mean? I just got a big heart and a lot of love and so much to offer to the world. You feel me?
Yeah, I think I don't know, teachers, even choreographers, like when you're in a classroom with all your students, the things that I think the discipline as a dancer, as a performer, it does carry on through to other areas of your life.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I saw on your social media is like you had a clip where you were teaching a group of students and you asked the student to come on stage to
Hmm.
demonstrate a route of, a 5 count or what 8 count that you taught.
Right.
And she started doing it, and then she messed up and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then you said,
Yeah.
"No, don't be sorry, don't ever be embarrassed, just
Yep.
pick it up, keep on moving." And
Yep.
then you went to describe how everyone comes with a different style. Everyone has
Yep.
their own uniqueness, and that's what makes us
Hmm.
special. And for me,
Exactly.
I imagine my if I was a student, in an environment like that, that seed that you plant, I would have
Hmm.
taken that with me. Even at hearing it as an adult, like I think it was a nice reminder for me to hear that, we do bring different things to the table. And I think a lot of times, especially with social media, and
Hmm.
trying to keep up with a certain image and be, presented in
Yeah.
a certain way, we
Hmm.
do beat ourselves up, when we get something wrong or we post like something that's not the best,
Hmm.
So I think
Yep.
that's what I thought when I saw that clip of yours.
Hmm.
So I really appreciated that. And so
You're very welcome.
yeah.
Hmm.
And so I was thinking, wow, like you must, have such a big impact on the people that you teach.
Yeah. Let me say this on top of that. If I didn't stick to who I was as a dancer and my style, I would have never did what I did in the industry. I heard for years because I come from Cincinnati. we are street dancers. We didn't have studios there. We didn't have people teaching us how to do this. We created everything that we did. A lot of the dances that I did was stuff that I created, made up, or I did back in Ohio. I didn't dance like nobody else. I didn't choreograph like nobody else. I very seldom would do like the big move that everybody do because I was never like that. If I would have conformed to what everybody else was doing, I would have just been another dancer like everybody else doing the same old moves. But I was on the floor. We dance with our whole body. We on the floor. It's all about the butt, it's all about the back, and it's all about the shoulders, it's all about the chest. It's all big. It wasn't one E, any two E, any three, any four. I didn't come from that world. So when I was teaching like that, everybody was like, all you do is booty dance. All you do is get on the floor. I said, that's my style though. That's like me saying all you do is pop. You feel me? That's your style. And don't knock a person for their style, but that style that I did, I was doing this in the 90s when I came out teaching classes. What's the biggest dance style in the world right now? Twerking.
Mhm.
That's all I was doing. We call it booty dance, they call it twerking. But that's all I was doing. Now that wasn't all I did, but that's what people was mad about. It was like, you always got these kids popping their butts. And I was like, that's just my style of dance. I can't help it that I'm bringing what I learned and what I did into my world. And everybody thought it was kind of like, oh, they popping their butt. But then now you can't go online on Instagram without seeing some kid, some girl, some grandma, some mom popping their butt. It's not a bad thing. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just dancing at the end of the day. Some people go overboard. I will say that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, okay, that was unnecessary. But mine was very clean, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was very respectful, and we was killing the dance floor. And that's why my classes went from 5 people to 200 and something people all the time because I was giving them energy. It's a choreographer by the name of Brooklyn. Brooklyn is my boy. He used to take my class. He used to talk about like, Shane, your class is so crazy, the energy. And I watch his classes, and he's got the same energy, the same vibe, same style. His style is different because he Brooklyn's a beast. But that same when I watched his class, I was like, that's me right there. That's how my classes were. And now I get because when you're in the middle of it, you're just doing what you do. But when people talk about it, you're like, oh, thank you. But then when you see it, you be like, wow, that's what he's talking about. You feel
Yeah.
me? So, my style transcended everything. You feel me?
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, it's true. I mean, you're right. It's all about twerking now. But when I think about the way you teach and the way you mentor, you're
Mm-hmm.
coaching your students or your people. I don't know. I think it builds a certain type of like confidence in
Yes.
people that
Mm-hmm.
maybe they don't really get because in the business it's just cutthroat. You're good or you're bad. You're in or you're
Yeah.
out. If you don't get the part, and then people could pick themselves apart. But it's
Yeah.
important to remind yourself that, listen, everyone does everything differently, and you stick
Mm-hmm.
to you, and that's the most important
Mm-hmm.
part.
Look, I'm gonna tell you how I went from a dancer to a choreographer, which is a question that people really don't really ask me. I came to LA as a dancer. I could choreograph, but that's not what I came. I came here as a guy in a singing group, okay? And we danced and sang in that group. But when the group broke up, I was in LA as a dancer, okay? When I would go on auditions as a dancer, I didn't like how the choreographer would look at you and talk to you and how they would cut you. I'm new out here. I know how talented I am. You can't tell me that I'm not good enough for this job. You feel me? And the way you tell me makes a difference. You go, yo, Shane, yo, you killing this, but we're looking for guys that are 5'9". Or Shane, you killing this, but it's a certain image that they're looking for. Come back to the next one. It's only a certain amount of choreographers that really come at you like that. But most of them, they come up, you, thank you, get out of here.
Mm.
They make you feel they won't even look at you. They'll be ignoring you, and you have to dance your butt out. I was like, I would never let another person judge me as a dancer ever again. I stopped auditioning that day and became a teacher.
But I feel like you're right. Like I think there should be at least, like that's what I mean when I say like, oh, I hear the business could be very sharp and very hard
Mm-hmm.
because it's very cutthroat. Um, but I do, yeah, I agree. I think you can tell people that they're not the one that you're going to choose,
Mm-hmm.
but in a
Mm-hmm.
tactful way. Like we don't have to cut people down,
Exactly.
even if they are
Exactly.
horrible. I think there's a way to
Mm-hmm.
say, you're not the one. I don't know. I agree. It
Yeah,
doesn't need to be
definitely.
so sharp.
Yeah, because you're a human being too. How would you like it if somebody treated you that way when you're trying your hardest to do something that you love? That kills careers, that kills progress. You feel me? I don't care how bad you are, there's always a way to tell somebody, like, yo, I see your potential. Get in more classes, take some ballet, take some jazz, get some more hip hop in there. Come back to me then. Because right now, you're not ready for this, but I can see your potential. I see your energy. They'll be like, thank you, I appreciate that. They'll leave. They'll come back next year and murder and murder. I've seen it happen. But I could have cut them down, like, yo, you go, you go, you go. The rest of y'all get out of there. And all this bull crap. And man, come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think everybody that all of your students definitely appreciate you.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to those who are coming into the like, I even want to move it away from like entertainment because I do think that it
Okay.
applies to every like in different areas. Like
Hmm.
how would you encourage people to celebrate like their differences?
That's a hard question. I would just I would just say, as a dancer, just know who you are. And I'll go back to the saying that I always say to people. I say, know who you are before you come to this industry,
Hmm.
because that way it's harder for them to change you. A lot of people don't know who they are, so the energy that the industry makes them. That's when you see the guy walking around with his nose in the air, thinking he's the coldest dancer in California. When I know somebody who will murder him in 5 seconds. Like, don't do that. Please don't do that. I've seen them come and I've seen them go. There's some dope dancers out here, but there's always somebody better. So know who you are. That way, when you're out there doing your best and you're achieving, you can always say, first, I like to give thanks to God. I like to thank my teacher. I like to thank this guy. I like to thank this guy. If it wasn't for them, and I just appreciate what I can do and what I have done. I come from a small place and now I'm out here. You would talk like that when you know who you are. But when you don't, and the industry that made you, yo, what's up, everybody? You're talking all this bull crap, all this saying, all this stuff that you're gonna look back in 10 years and be like, I was gone mentally. I shouldn't have been talking like that. Like, that wasn't me. You had an opportunity in front of millions of people to say something so amazing, so uplifting, and all you could say is, yo, 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 da, 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 da. Come on, man. Get out of that.
Yeah. I think it comes back to you saying, with surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yeah,
In the beginning when you said, surround yourself with the right people. Not everybody is your friend, and just know that.
yeah, yep, exactly.
One of the things that you and I were talking about before we were recording is like, some of your personal hard lessons that you have learned.
Hmm.
And for those that have been following you, have definitely heard of, the case or the case that you had or the allegations that that you had like 10 years ago. Did you want to touch on that and, speak on what you learned from that situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's been like 20 years ago now. It's so crazy. Actually, it's been 25 years ago, because when it happened, it was 15 years. This person waited 15 years to do this to me. And it was 2009. We're in 2021 right now. You feel
Did I
me?
say 10? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, it's all right. The time is flying, though. I can't even believe that it's been that long. I can't believe it was 10 years ago when I went through that. It
Hmm.
seemed like it was just yesterday. But all I would like to say is, it goes first. Be careful of the people that you bring into your life. I know I said that, but you got to be really careful. But I'll just tell you a little story about that situation that nobody ever gave me the opportunity to tell, because it seems like when I was going through it, everybody wanted information. But when you're going through stuff like that, they don't let you talk. Your lawyer's like, shut up, da 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 da. And you want to talk so bad. TMZ came to every court date talking to me, giving me cards. I wanted to talk so bad, but they wouldn't let me. So I did. So I missed the opportunity. But as soon as it was over and they was like, yeah, Shane this, Shane that, Shane that, nobody wanted to interview me. Nobody wanted to get the truth. They just went with the flow. And so everybody was kind of writing the same thing. And once TMZ dropped what they dropped, when I had an opportunity to talk to them, everybody followed TMZ. And it was crazy. But just picture this. I was teaching. I work every day. I'm a hard worker. I left Ohio to come out here to help my mom. I come into the house one day and there's a lady in my house and her daughter. I know her daughter because her daughter works at the studio. I see her all the time, okay? She takes class, whatever. So when you work at the front desk, you have to be 18 years old. Everybody knows that. So I see her in my house. I'm like, yo, what's going on? My roommate's like, yo, I've been dating her mom. I'm like, oh, for real? That's crazy. So long story short, we all started hanging out. Me and the girl, the daughter, we start talking. We start hanging out. So maybe I probably saw her maybe like 5 or 6 times after that in the class, or she would come to the house. We would hang out. And then one day she just disappeared. I didn't think nothing of it because it wasn't a serious thing. Just people come and go. People work at the studio, whatever, they come and go. And I never thought nothing else about it. And I remember a few years later seeing her. I was walking down Ventura Boulevard and she was trying to get a job at a bar. And I remember, hey, what's up? She was like, hey, what's up? She's like, yeah, I'm trying to get this job. And she was taking a test. And I talked to her for a minute. I was like, all right, I'll talk to you later. I still wasn't famous yet. This was a couple years after, I knew her. So it was still like the 90s. So I wasn't thinking nothing about it. And then I do You Got Served. I do So You Think You Can Dance. I do America's Best Dance Crew. I'm traveling with the Post. I go to New York for 3 months doing Dream Girls, living in the W Hotel like a king. I go to Korea doing Dream Girls in a Korean version of it. Like I'm at the peak of everything, and we just about to do the next season of America's Best Dance Crew. We had already filmed it. I'm just living this life, and I remember coming home and like I was at the house or whatever, and I got a I had a letter in my mail, and it was like, "Hey, this is a detective, blah blah blah. There's a girl saying you did this or did that. We don't know if it's true or not. It could be just some bull crap, but give us a call." I looked at it and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." My ex-girlfriend calls me. She says, "Shane, there's a girl calling people on Facebook and whatever saying she wants y'all to help testify against him." And I was like, "Wait, who are you talking about?" And she said the girl's name. I was like, "Wait, what?" I said, "You got her number?" She's like, "Yeah." She gave me the number. I called her up. I said, "Hey, blah blah blah, what's up?" She was like, "Oh, what are you doing calling me?" She was so shocked that I called her because that's the last thing she expected. But I wanted to figure out what the heck was going on. So she's like, I gotta go, I can't talk to you." I said, "All right, I'm about to go here. I'm gonna call you tomorrow around the same time." I call her the same time. She has a cop on the phone. I didn't notice at the time. But so my whole story was, so tell me what's going on. Like, what are you doing right now? Like, what did I do? She said, I just want an apology. I said, what do you want me to apologize for? She said, I just want an apology. I said, if you tell me what I did, what I did wrong, I would apologize. I have no problem with that. She was like, I don't, it never like was clear. So we got off the phone. So then the number on that paper, I called for the cop and the detective Hume, I'll never forget his name. I said, hey, this is Shane calling about the blah, blah, blah. He said, hey, Shane. So he started talking to me. And he was real slick about this. But he was asking me, like, did I know her? I was like, yeah, I know her. He was like, well, she's saying that you raped her. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, like, rape? I was like, I've never raped a girl in my life. But he said, I was like, I don't know what you mean. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, well, she said, back in the day, you did this, you did that. I was like, can you have me and her get together and talk? I said, so I can figure out exactly what I did to her. Because if I did something to hurt her, I will 100% apologize. He was like, okay, okay, okay. But they never would like do that. It was like, she wasn't going to get on the phone with me without her lawyer because they had already been scheming. And in my opinion, the reason all this happened, because a lot of people are like, well, why would she do it? I think I heard that she was trying to get back into college. She was almost 30 years old. And they said if she would have been 30, she wouldn't have been able to do this. It would have been too late for her to do it. But for some reason, she happened to be 29 or whatever. And she's in there. And I think, and when you go to college, they do an evaluation on you or they say you see a psychiatrist. And when they do that, they ask you a million questions. And I think that situation came up because she probably had some hardships, some things that went on in her life, and that came up. And when you say stuff like that, they have to report it. And I think once they realized who I was, they were like, "Oh, okay, we about to get this dude." Because if they were good people, they would say, "Let's set up something so you could talk." Because if this disturbed your life all these years, let's talk to Shane and put you on the room so you could get closure, not destroy his career that he's been working on for all his life. Everything that I've ever done led to that. I didn't do nothing else, so they didn't do that. So I told him like, "Yeah, I was with her," and da 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 da. And once I said that, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. And I think for like the next 6 months, I was like, I'll be at home, like wondering like what was going to happen. I had went to New York for 3 months, did all this and did all that dream girl stuff. And literally 2 days after I got home, they knocked on my door, like 6 or 7 in the morning. And that's when you see that video of me walking out of my apartment building and I'm in handcuffs, that was that morning. And I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And the reason I can't believe it is because I know I've done some things in my life to females. I know I've broken hearts. I know that, but I grew up doing sports, gymnastics, dancing, so there was always girls around. I didn't really settle down because I got my heart broken at 15, super bad. So, and I don't want to make it like an excuse, but I was messed up from that for so long. So whenever I would meet girls, I would just be with them and I would be friends with them and we'd be in a relationship. But I was always one leg in, one leg out because my career meant everything to me and I wasn't gonna let nobody stop me because I just knew how devious people could be. So that led through my whole life. So I think to myself, Shane, you did a million good things and you probably did 100 bad things. There's no way that you should lose everything that you've been working for based on this situation. And it just killed me because the media saw me on TV every day and loved me. I tell you, there wasn't a day in my life when I was on TV that wasn't amazing. And it was crazy how they turned against me so fast. Like I was a bad person. They never heard me curse on TV. They never saw me in a video doing nothing crazy. You never see a video of me with my shirt off. I'm too shy for that. That's not my style. I'm a talented person. I love to create. You don't see me dancing as much because I like to create and put it out there. So when they destroyed me and said I was this pedophile, I was like, wow, that's crazy. It's just crazy because you think like I go home, I get up, I go to my class, or I go out of town or whatever, and these people come to your life. They come into your life and they have no respect for themselves because all they want to do is be with you and be a part of you. And all you're doing is just living your life. I've never just went to a city and was like, hey, I'm gonna go over to the store and go to the mall and find a girl. I would go to a place and there would be millions of people and they would tell you like, Shane would come there, teach his class, sign autographs, give so much love, give some type of speech or whatever, and be back at his hotel. That was my forte. And if I did see a girl or meet a girl, I knew somebody. I was like, yo, I'm gonna be in Virginia, wherever I'm at. Yo, are you gonna be around? And they would usually come out there, take me out, we'll do stuff. But it was never like running around in my class trying to find chicks. So it just was crazy. But going back to the beginning, I understand, I'll say karma. You go through life, you do stuff, you gotta pay for it. I just wish it didn't take everything that I worked for. Because I've seen people out there shooting people, selling drugs, killing. I see people do the craziest stuff and bounce back and be back on top like the next week. And I'm like, really? So y'all gonna treat me like this? And I don't and they're doing this right now. These people are doing this stuff right now, getting in trouble, doing it, blah, 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 and pop back up. They brought something on me that happened 15 years ago, and they still don't even know how old she was. The thing, there was nothing that was solid. It was like, well, it happened between 92 and 97 or 96. And I'm like, that's a big difference. That's like a 5 year difference. So think about that. She could either be 12 or she could be 17. You know what I mean? Like that's a big difference. So you got to make sure you're clear. But they could never pinpoint anything because she lies so much. And I'm gonna tell you this is something that they didn't say nothing about. They brought her into the court, had me sitting in there, and they basically, what do you call it? They interrogated her, whatever. She said every question that was asked that should have got a real answer to let them know this is bullshit. I don't remember. I don't remember. He said, well, how did it happen 6 times? She was like, I don't know. It's like after the first time, didn't you think that you should have told somebody? You should have left. Yeah, but well, after the second time, don't you think you should have told somebody? After the third time, so you mean to tell me you went back to this guy 6 times and let him do this? Like, are you crazy? They shut her down so bad. It was like, if I was the only reason I settled because my lawyer kept saying, Shane, if you go to court, you might have a racist what do you call them, jury, and you might because she was Hispanic, but they kept saying she was white. It was like, and you might get a jury that might be on her side no matter what happened. And they could have been lying because they be wanting to just they just want you to get a verdict. They just want you to say guilty or not guilty. They just want to get something. And he told me that he said it could go to trial, but if you go to trial, it might go this way, and you might have to spend years in jail. That scared me more than anything because I knew what I worked for and I knew what I was doing in life, and I knew that would just destroy everything. So he was like, well, so you can say not guilty or no contest, plead no contest. I pled no contest. After the judge found out her story and saw how she was so shaky, they dropped everything except for unlawful sex with a minor. That's all I got was unlawful sex with a minor. The whole 6 counts of whatever, she tried to bring in 6 other girls. Nothing, that never happened. And she gave, I have a piece of paper that nobody cared about, which is so important to me, that says there was no other victims. They went through, when they do a case like that, they check every girl. They go through, they put all these things out. Now, one other victim came up and said that I did that to them. When she said, yeah, there were other girls. It was sex with a minor, which if I was 17 and she was 18, or if I was 18 and she was 17, that's something that you would get because she's still a minor. So, and I'm saying that's good or bad, but I'm just saying, but they made it seem like I was this guy that did some crazy stuff to this girl. And it's just not me. Like, it's just not me to be like that. And I just wish the day they gave me a chance to speak my mind. And I still think one day they will, one day I'll get a chance to tell my story and people will be like, oh my God, I wish I'd have known that. I would have booked you for this. I'll play it. But
Well,
I know, go ahead.
no, please.
Okay. And on the flip side, I learned so much about myself. And I
Yeah,
learned so much about,
I was gonna
yeah.
say, going through that, what
Hmm.
would you tell young Shane or anybody? Because I feel like, when we hear about the entertainment industry, like we hear
Hmm.
people surrounding themselves and getting themselves in situations.
Yeah.
So, what would you tell young
I would just
Shane,
tell
or
them,
what would you do differently?
I would tell young Shane what I've been saying this whole time. Be careful of these people, man. They don't love you. All it takes is one negative energy to enter your world to destroy it. You could give a million positive speeches and all these people around you. All it takes is one sitting in the back, like, yeah, I don't like him, to change everything. I just wish that they would give people the benefit of the doubt. And if something happens in their life, give them a chance to come back and see who the person is. Everything that people do is online right now. And it's so many negative things with these people in this world. And I go back to saying earlier, you go online, you don't see me talking, it's just not my style. And I was going to be the first, I always said this before I got on TV, that I was going to be the first one to come into this industry that could actually say he didn't do none of the things that everybody was doing, like smoking, drinking, all the gun, the drugs, blah, 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 defiling people. And I wanted to be one of the first ones to be on TV to be that person. That's all I ever wanted to be. That's why I was so powerful with what I said and what I did, because I believed who I was. And I'm not that person that breaks people down, tear people down. You know, that girl, mom, trusted me with her. You know what I mean? Even though I didn't know her age at the time, that's no excuse. But her mom trusted me with her. So she couldn't have looked at me like, yo, no, be careful. No, she let me, you know what I mean? She was there. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like,
You're
I
saying
saw
just
her.
be careful of who you surround
Yeah,
yourself with. Yeah.
yes, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
appreciate you being so open to talking about that, because you and I had talked before, just to make sure,
yeah.
because I wanted to respect you and what you were comfortable with. But I do appreciate you being so transparent and just, open to addressing that, because it's out
Hmm.
there. And this is the first time I'm hearing your side. So, and I think that is a big, whether,
Hmm.
aside from the allegation and the case for you, it's the bigger thing is just, the message is just be mindful of who you choose to spend your time with. And
Exactly.
these are all the things that one of the many things that you share on Spark Up a Conversation on your podcast. And you
Hmm.
touch on a lot of different topics too, that I feel like
Yeah.
people could really benefit from. So thank you for that.
You are very, very welcome. And I appreciate you calling me and hit me up and asking me to do this and let me express myself.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. I
You're
mean,
very welcome.
on that note, I think that was so amazing. I really appreciated hearing all that. If you
Mhm.
guys want to learn more and hear more about what Shane has to say, Shane, please let everyone know where they could find more about you on your
Okay,
social
yeah.
media handle.
If you go to I am Shane Sparks on Instagram, I post a lot of stuff up there. And if you go to I have a YouTube channel called Spark Up Spark Up a Conversation 5678, and you can see some of my stuff there. I'm still in the process. All this is new. I just decided I have so much to say. I'm going to do podcasting. So now I'm in the process of doing it. So you will be seeing more, and you will. I'll be doing it like what you're doing. That's the goal is to be able to have people come in that has a lot to say, and I talk to them and we can spread the word.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, any last words before we go?
Um, yes. Okay, so check this out. So since I've been here, I've been living in Las Vegas for the past 3 years, and life has been crazy. Just went through the hardest breakup of my life, but I'm getting through it. But I got involved with SMP, and it's SMP, scalp micropigmentation, and it's basically when you see people online and they are balding or whatever, it's a tattoo situation, but it's not the regular ink that you use in regular tattooing. It's a
I've heard of
special
that.
ink that was created. Yeah. And you can give a guy his hairline back and it looks so real. So I have my license in like another week and I've been taking my classes and I just ordered my chair, just ordered my mirror, ordered my lights, and I'm so excited to get my car, doing my website. So just be looking out for that. And that's kind of I'm doing videography and still doing choreography, and I'm working on a TV show series called The Family. It's a family of vampires, and so I'm pretty busy out here, man. But I love
Yeah.
it here because I'm just like it's so chill.
I like that you're not put like you're not putting yourself in a box.
Yeah, never, never. I always say I was gifted with talent. I wasn't gifted as a dancer. I wasn't gifted as a writer or singer. My gift is just talent to create. That's it. So once I put my head to it, that's it.
I love it. All right, guys, there is our pod episode for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, and share the pod.
Yes,
Come hang out
yes,
with us next time.
yes.
Bye.
I appreciate you, Janice.